Mellow greetings, Tubians, Ronan T here, and let's fanfic Story of Seasons Friends of Mineral Town. Autumn 5th, Year 1, Monday. Sunny. Journal. Dear Journal. Wonderful friend. Today started off really normally. I sat down and I made my to-do list over breakfast. I went out and I started ticking off lists and I was feeling good, you know? I was feeling empowered. I checked the chooks, I gathered the eggs, I gave everybody pats, I let them out for food, did the same with the cow and the sheepy, petted Rayan, watered all the crops, and again, I know I keep skiting about it, but I love my watering can, it is so amazing. I gathered everything and I went inside and it would have been, I don't know, 11ish maybe, and I came back out and Jeff was there. Now, this in and of itself is not unusual, and a lot of people come by to visit me, although admittedly they very much normally do it or somewhere around wake up time, not in the middle of the day. Maybe this is the start of a new trend. Maybe Jeff just understands what it is to have to wake up early. But he showed up, and he very excitedly asked me to come back to the store with him because he needed my help with something. So of course I followed along because, you know, keeping your shopkeeper happy is probably one of the better choices you can make in life, right? Got there and Basil was there. Now, I've only met Basil once or twice. I think he's Maria's dad? Or Thomas is. No, I'm fairly sure it's Basil. And they were talking about a flower that they'd heard of, but neither of them had ever seen. And apparently it's a flower that has significant meaning when given to a loved one, and Basil was teasing Jeff about wanting to give it to Sasha, and Jeff got all blushy, and it was so adorably cute. And they kept talking about it, and it was fantastic, and they were sort of asking if I'd ever seen it, or if I could keep an eye out for it for them, or... And I kept hearing this chittering noise, so I went and I had a look behind the shelves, and there was this group of, like, 5 gnomes? I found out later, Journal, they were harvest sprites. I always thought that harvest sprites were a myth. Mind you, I thought the goddess was kind of a myth as well, but it harvest sprites. They were all identical, and they came color-coded. And and they explained that they were there to do their grocery shopping and that they always pay with real money, so I shouldn't worry they're not shoplifting or anything along those lines. And they said that they'd been eavesdropping and that they'd heard about the flower too and that they wanted to help, and they asked me to follow them, and Journal, for reasons I'm not really sure on, I followed them. And these are mini mythical mystic creatures, right? And surely they couldn't bring me any sort of harm, although I will admit that tones of Snow White were flashing through my head the entire time. We went to the park and they did some sort of chant thing, and then there was a bright flash of light and the ground rumbled and everything smelled like... It smelled like after a storm. I love that smell. And 2 examples of this flower had grown. The the sprites gave them to me, and then they left quite happy and stuff. So I took it back to Jeff and Basil, and they were still talking about the flower and was it real, and what could they do with it and how could they discover it. I showed up and I gave them each one of the flowers, and they were absolutely shell shocked, which is fair. And I've just walked into the store with a mystical flower that nobody's ever seen or heard of. They let me name it. I called it Sunsweet. It smells really pretty. But after I gave them the flowers, they each rushed off. Jeff was going to dedicate a painting to it, and Basil wanted to research it, and then it was done. And I'm still not 100% sure what actually happened. And after that, I went and did my usual runarounds. I foraged, said hi to a few people, made offerings, the usual stuff that you do. But I can't quite get over it, Journal. And the Harvest Goddess, she's real. She appears to me every day. And the Kappa is real. And accepted cucumbers from me and looks kind of like a weird duck hipster. And now, Harvest Sprites. Harvest Sprites are real. When I got home, I took some time to go through Great Aunt Kira's journal. She said that she used to have the Harvest Sprites work for her. She'd give them gifts, and in exchange they'd water crops and pick plants and take care of the animals for her, so that it'd make her day easier. But I'm not sure how I feel about that, and I know the older generation's a bit more down with mystical creature slave labor, but I live in the Harry Potter world where we free our house elves and we give them socks. I don't even own any socks, so how do I free the Harvest Sprites from their service? I should find out where they live and go see them and say thanks for the flowers, but I'm a little freaked out by their very existence. I'm going to own that. I guess I've kind of gotten used to seeing the goddess every day, quite literally, but this is just journal. It's too weird. I'm gonna go now, and maybe tomorrow will be normal again, right? Yeah, of course it will. It has to be. Sunny tomorrow, Channel. Sunny. Sunny's normal. We like sunny. I just... Good night, Channel. Good night. Autumn 6, Year 1, Tuesday. Sunny. Oh, Channel. Old buddy, old pal. I didn't see any more sprites today, so that's a positive. I still think that I may have just hallucinated them a little bit, maybe. I neither Basil nor Jeff reacted to them, and Jeff even came over to check up on me and ask me what I was talking to, or maybe it was just me. But today was relatively normal. Fifi has grown up, or was it Cece? I've got to stop giving all the chickens such similar names. It's getting confusing. But they've grown up, and I tended to everything, and I took care of the crops, and Nothing sprouted yet. I was kind of hoping that something would be up by now. Maybe the carrots. Usually the single grow options are a bit faster, but no. Nothing yet. We'll get there. And I got all the chores taken care of, and I went inside because it's time. I put it on my to-do list, on my action items list for today. We are going to start the social project, which means I'm going to be running around as much as possible and trying to bribe everybody into this town into loving me as much as I humanly can. Now that means working out what they like and giving them gifts, because that's how you make friends in Mineral Town, according to everything I've read. It's not about talking to people and getting to know them, it's about bribing them into loving you. Hopefully that will lead to more fulsome conversations, but this is kind of what Ellie and Marie recommended, and it's backed up by Aunt Kira's journals. It just feels weird. Maybe we do things differently in the city, where you have a few drinks, you talk, you discuss each other's interests, you get to know one another. It's a bit of a laugh, and sometimes you realize that you like somebody, and sometimes you realize that they're really irritating, and you regret the fact that you left the house. But it here it's just say hi, shove a gift in their face, and run away. It does seem simpler, but also like it's kind of missing something. But I went inside to go and gather an assortment of things that I could give to people that hopefully they would like. And as I was leaving to start the great social run, Basil showed up at my doorstep. And what is it with people now showing up mid-morning? I appreciate this, and at the same time I'm a little bit disturbed. And what if I'd already left for the day? Was he just going to hang around the farm? Weird. He'd been studying the flowers that grew magically in seconds, and he gave me a bunch of seeds for them, so I decided to do my running around and go give presents to everybody first. I went with some more obvious choices. Like, I figure Gray does all of the smithing stuff, so he probably likes ore, and Rick and Potpourri seem to like eggs, so I gave them eggs, and I just went around everybody and tried to give them something that would match up. Everybody did seem really appreciative. That was really good. Maybe this will work. I don't know. I just know that I need to do something. I've got to start building something more than crops in this town, and darn it, this is a part of it. We will be friends, and it's going to be great. Right? Sure. I even stopped in and saw a few of the I don't want to say older folks, because honestly, we're all adults. There's only like 3 kids in the entire village. But I even stopped in and I saw like Dudley, and I saw Mana, and it was actually kind of fun. And Mana at least started confiding in me a bit, and that was really nice. And I met Ellen. I hadn't met Ellen before. Ellen is, I think she's Ellie's grandmother. The poor lady seems very unwell, but she was really happy to have a visitor and someone to say hi, so that was positive. After the grand social run of doom, I did my foraging, I went and made my offerings, I came home, set up a plot, planted out the new flower seeds. I'm a little bit worried, Journal, that planting these will attract further sprite activity. And what if they're like some sort of ghost beacon, maybe? Where if I grow the flowers, there's no, I'm just being silly. I'm still wigged out from yesterday, and you know what? I should be proud. Today I made great strides. I ticked off everything on my list. I went and saw a heap of people. I'm working on building new relationships. I'm still working on the farm. This is the life that I was dreaming of, and I'm taking steps towards making that a real thing and not just making enough gold to survive and make sure that I can eat and that sort of thing. But steps are being taken, and I should be proud of that. That should be a thing of joy. Yeah, yeah, that totally should, and I'm absolutely going to hold to that. Yeah, that's what we like, channel. Anyway, it's going to be sunny again tomorrow, which is good. Another crisp, clean autumn day to enjoy. At least I don't sweat as soon as I leave the house, which is a bonus. And, this place has no air conditioning, so it gets warm at night, which makes it a little bit hard to sleep. I also stopped and watched the cooking show that's on each night, and I learned how to make, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this, and I'm really sorry for that. And I learned how to make Baumkuchen. It sounds German. Is probably not. But hey, I made it. Well, I learned how to make it. I'll make it when I've got the stuff to make it, and it should be fun. Anyway, Journal, I am cross eyed, so I am going to bed. Night, Journal.